good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Max with the RHMax channel. Today, we've got a special guest, CryptoSloth, and we're going to cover a few different things, everything from, of course, HEX, PulseChain, PulseX, stuff like that, but also Maximus DAO. That's something that Sloth has some experience in and is pretty closely following that project. And yeah, things are going pretty good. This is the third episode. I appreciate everyone out there for the support and watching. Valley Brand's on. Yeah, awesome. I see you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, hope you're having a good first day of the week on Monday. And yeah, let's get started. Let's bring CryptoSloth in. Just beforehand, not financial advice. We're just here to talk. Hopefully talk turkey from time to time. And yeah, let's hopefully you get some good ideas and stuff from the content. Here we go. Welcome, CryptoSloth.
What's up, Max? How's it going, man?
Oh, it's it's been a busy day. Been jazzed all day about this interview, though. I know I came on your stream. Yeah, I came on your stream maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about a week ago.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't too long ago. Time has flew recently, so hard to keep track. But yeah, had a really good time, and just wanted to get you on the stream, learn more about you, your situation, what you're interested in, what's going on. And I know we got a few different topics to go through. So yeah, let's get started by just introduce yourself. What you do, what you like, what you're into, and how'd you got into crypto? How'd you find Richard Heart products? All that good stuff.
Yeah, so I'm a CryptoSloth, just some guy on the internet talking about crypto with a particular focus around Richard Heart products. I've been in crypto for, it's actually coming up on a year now. I started with, have you heard of Dollar Cost Crypto and Cultivate Crypto? Maybe like DCC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, DCC.
Yeah, he's a big HEX OG, and they have a course called the Crypto Mindset course. And so they were some of the first influencers that I found. I think I was pretty lucky to find them. And I took their course, and obviously through them and through like DCC, I got into HEX and learning about that. It became my favorite coin pretty quickly just because of his fundamentals, as well as his community. I also got exposed to other people like Motley the Investor, Wave 3 TV, Valley Brand, lots of the HEX community. And so it's been a year of me just studying crypto as a whole, with a particular focus on HEX, as well as PulseChain now that's been going on. And I just kind of decided a couple months ago that I wanted to make a channel, start to channel some of the thoughts that I've been having into kind of a productive way, and then make it public. Yeah, maybe, and if I'm lucky enough, build an audience while I'm doing that.
Hey, that's the name of the game these days. Got to produce good content, get people involved, and produce value for society. It's how you get wealthy. So if you apply that to YouTube, I'm hoping to do the same thing. Not get wealthy through YouTube, but apply the creating value part to it, and get the people to follow and be interested and kind of motivate you to just create this good stuff. So
yeah, man, I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks. Yeah, early so far, but getting into it.
But also on like non-crypto related stuff, I'm a dental student, so I'm halfway through my dental school career. So in about 2 years, I'll be a dentist, which is pretty cool. I really enjoy research. Before dental school, I did some cell biology research in undergrad. I did some neuroscience research at the NIH, and I do some tissue engineering research now in a lab at my school. And so those are two things that occupy a lot of my time that I don't think I've talked about too much yet on stream.
Yeah. Well, you want to get into that, or just around about like how why dentistry? Why do you have a plan to work for a dentist place, or open your own shop, or you plan to get wealthy in crypto and just do your own thing, or what do you think?
Yeah. So why dentistry? My answer is pretty simple. It's the work. It's this really nice mix between medicine and then also having a tangible skill where you can help people directly. So like people will come into your office in pain, and then they'll leave that same day without pain. or, somebody will have, not so great aesthetically pleasing smile, and through your work you can give them, a beautiful smile. And having that kind of direct impact on people's life, and having that tangible skill where you can give that to somebody, is something I wanted, and something I decided to pursue. My love for research kind of came through that pursuit of dentistry, finding research opportunities to bolster my dental school application. And through that, I was like, oh man, I really like the process of science, the epistemology and philosophy that underpins why the scientific method works. So that's what led me to my job at the NIH for 2 years before I got into dental school, to see if I wanted to have an academic career as a researcher. And, those 2 years I fell in love with research, and I love it even more. And I decided, why not do both? So I'm, becoming a dentist now. I'm still doing research, but my ultimate ambition is to be in academia, be a clinician scientist, where I'm treating patients, but I'm also in the lab, making whatever scientific discoveries I can that hopefully will lead to, better clinical outcomes for patients in the future.
Nice. I mean, we need more people healing people, whether it's teeth, whether medicine for your body, whether it's longevity, whatever. So I always have a lot of respect for people who, because I know a lot of it's a self-sacrificing job.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like working in big tech where you get time, all kinds of time off, sometimes unlimited time off. There's different kinds of pressures, but just I think I have friends who are in the medical field as well, and I don't envy them at all. I just feel like, wow, you're really doing a lot of work for, I know you get pay raises and stuff like that, but it's not like you're going to get a lot of stock in the company, and it's not like you're going to, most people don't get rich that way. Just through their salary in general, but especially even if you have a higher salary, it's like,
you still
of course
lose
you got
out
to
on
invest
years
in
of
assets,
it.
but and you're sacrificing a lot of your best years to get the education to do it. And a lot of respect.
I appreciate that. A lot of that's very true. That's kind of where crypto and all the HEX PulseChain stuff comes in. It comes with a lot of debt, of course. And so hopefully through the growth of HEX, PulseChain, Richard Heart ecosystem, I'll be granted a lot of financial freedom to actually make these decisions to pursue my native interests, rather than being forced to compromise because I need to service my debt, provide for my family, etc.
Right. For sure.
So, as well as I do have, also have philanthropic goals for some of that wealth too, through utilizing my skills as a future dentist. What's up, Gold Key? Good to see you, man.
Yeah. Hey, Gold Key, say hi to the chat here. QT, we got Bally Brand, we got a few people here. Appreciate it. Keep them coming. Share the link. So if you haven't, I was looking at my YouTube analytics, and so far it's like 80-20 for people who haven't subbed but they've watched. So keep it coming. We're gonna get some good content for you. Yeah, it's hopefully I can beat it down. Hopefully, what's the next step? You get 65-35, 70-30, all that stuff. So I'm gonna keep beating it down and keep trying to, at least. So how'd you find Richard? How'd you find HEX, Pulse, all that stuff?
Yeah, so it was through Dollar Cost Crypto and Cultivate Crypto. I found them right after one of their courses, and then so through their streams, they were talking about one of the coins they were talking about were HEX, and then since HEX has the largest community of all ecosystems out there, naturally that's where I ended up going via the algorithm. But I stayed for the community, stayed for the pumpamentals, the game theory, etc., etc. I don't watch Richard all that much. I usually catch I catch the highlights afterwards. If there's something I need to know, usually people will be posting it on Twitter. And then if there's a lot going on, I'll go back and watch it really quickly. But I haven't been too much of as fervent of a Richard Heart follower, interestingly enough.
Oh, yeah. That's, I mean, usually I guess a lot of people I talk to, they found Richard and then they found HEX, or they found HEX and now they love Richard. It's kind of one of those things, but okay, that's interesting. You're like, yeah, Richard is, he's the means to the end, for you at least.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from him. He gives great information. It's just not always where I choose to spend my time watching his streams. It's just a personal choice, not necessarily a indication of quality or anything. Because obviously, you know, he has produced the best crypto in existence with the best mechanics behind it. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's. I mean, this is the RHMax channel. But hey,
Yeah,
it's
I
we're
know
talking
where
about
I'm
all
at,
the
man. Don't worry, I know where I'm at.
yeah, yeah. So, what are you most excited for this year? I mean, we know you got Pulse coming up soon. Hopefully,
Mhm.
we've got you know, PulseX obviously included. That Hex has been crazy volatile, like somewhat like the rest of the market. I mean, it's been more up than a lot of stuff going
Mhm.
out there. But yeah, what are you most excited for this year?
I'm excited for PulseChain launch. I'm ready for it. You know, I know you've been around since the beginning, so you've been around, you know, the whole year since the sacrifice started. Since Richard's been talking about PulseChain, so it's been a long time coming, and now that it's around the corner, I'm pretty excited for it. I've learned a lot in this last year, and I've really taken a liking to DeFi, yield farming. Those are things that I found to be very interesting, and I've tried to build a skill set around. So I'm really excited. This is going to be my first really opportunity to test out my knowledge
Hmm.
in a newly formed market, and I'm going to get to see exactly, you know, where my strengths are, where my weaknesses are, where my blind spots are. I'm excited to make money, but I'm really excited for the learning opportunity this is going to present, because we're going to be talking about this for years to come. You know, just like we can point right to the chart, like right there. That's where big payday was. We're going to do the same thing for post launch, and the same thing for the other 4 charts that we're about to get of Richard Hart products. So I'm just enjoying the calm before the storm.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. It's like you said, a lot of stuff coming up. Speaking of that too, I mean, something just launched, Maximus DAO. I know you've
Yeah.
had, you know, we were on the stream talking with Dipcatcher, and you were going over some, you know, some charity ideals, kind of corporate structure type stuff. We got into that. That was
Hmm.
pretty cool. Yeah, what you want to give us like
Yep.
a quick introduction to Maximus, why it's, you know, interesting in the ecosystem, and like, you know, what some of the ideas you had for it.
Yeah, of course. So for anybody who doesn't know who's watching, Maximus DAO is just essentially a smart contract that pools everybody's hex who puts it into the contract and does one big max length stake. And the representation of ownership of the stake is in the form of an ERC20. In this case, it's Maxi. And at the end of the stake, you get to redeem the number. Each Maxi is entitled to an equal proportion of the end amount of hex and hedron, and so you can redeem that Maxi token at the very end of the 15 years. But at the very beginning, during the minting phase, it was a 1-for-1 ratio. And I gotta say, I gotta hand it both to Gold Key and Dipcatcher. They have had an immense amount of success since the stake began, with really high premiums closing in on almost like 50%. I've been very happy to see its success. I'm very excited about the implications of such a protocol, because one thing I've learned about Hex through my time studying it is that it is essentially like premium collateral. It's a decentralized form of yield where, you know, no matter what, you're gonna get more hex at the end of that stake, and now you know you're gonna get a certain amount of hedron at the very end of it. And so this protocol that is hex can be used as the foundation to build on top of, to build more financial products on top of. And because it's such a sturdy and strong foundations, the things that the places we're gonna get to go by building on top of it are going to be so much higher and greater than what Hex in of itself is going to bring. And I see things like
Mm.
Maximus and Hedron being the first iteration of those kind of financial products. So it's really just awesome to be here this early for things like this, as well as get to participate and learn from them, because we're going to see iterations of these things in the future. We're going to see like cousins of them, where it's like, oh, I see what you're doing, I see how it changes, and we're going to have the experience to kind of be able to capitalize that financially in the future because we're here now.
No, no, for sure. Well said. I mean, Maximus is just exciting in so many different ways.
Hmm.
Just as an example of nothing else for how to do these type of DAOs and how to, you know, release the sell pressure from certain tokens, getting
Yep.
exchanged, getting it locked up for a long time, getting those maximum gains. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yep.
I'm having a technical difficulty on my mouse. It just stopped working, and I've tried several times to get it to work. So can you just talk about maybe the charity idea that you had with that? I'm gonna go blank for
Yeah.
just a second, and I'm gonna get this mouse resolved. Just give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, no problem. I'll
Awesome.
kill 5 minutes for you.
Cool.
So the idea that I had for the Maximus contract, or a contract that maybe looks similar to the Maximus DAO contract, is using it as a means to crowdfund for any kind of philanthropic goals that a single entity or a grassroots group of people wanted to fund for. And through the conversation I had with Max, Dipcatcher, and a couple of other guests I had on that show, it could also be used even theoretically for corporations or governments, but essentially using this decentralized pooling protocol to be able to skim off some of the coins that were minted and give them to this entity, as well as having the entity stake through the contract. And then at the end of it, the entity as well as the donors will have a liquid form of that stake where they can take profits on to gain more liquidity, or yield farm to gain more funds, or um, donors could donate that back to the charity. There are a lot of different options, but using this as a decentralized way to crowdfund, I thought was really cool. So if anybody's interested in that idea, you just go hop on to my channel, CryptoSloth. And I have a whole flow chart where I outline kind of the whole, the whole process of what that could possibly look like. And I think it's really cool because it creates this win-win situation for both the entity accruing the tax on the mint, as well as for the donors, because the donors are getting a financial product in return rather than it just being a complete loss of money or a complete donation of money, because it's not really a loss. You're giving it to achieve a goal, and then you get tax benefits from that. But in addition to giving money to whatever goals you want to fund, you also are investing at the same time. So what it does is open up the pool of funds that people allocate their money towards. So usually there's like a certain percentage that people give every month or every paycheck to charity. Well, now, in addition to that, maybe part of the funds that go to their investments could also be used to give to charities or whatever organizations may be using this idea. And it was just an idea I had in passing, and I drew up a flow chart really quick for it, and I just wanted to share it with everybody. But yeah, that's what I did with Maxi. That was my idea with Maxi. What else can I talk about Maxi? The premium is super cool. It's to see the market price in the future value or the current accrued value of the stake, as well as it seems like speculating on the future accrued value is going to be really interesting. Is really cool to see it happen so quickly. For me personally, I could see Maxi being something that I DCA my liquid funds into. So it's also kind of working for me in terms of the underlying stake. And then whenever I want to make a stake or if I need liquid HEX, I'll just move that Maxi over into HEX. That's an idea I'm playing with for anybody who wants to, for anybody who's been thinking about that too. Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, backup mouse worked. Yay. So weird. Literally, the battery just doesn't work. Took it out, took it back in. Don't know. But I did catch the tail end of that, and if folks want to hear more about, he's got a diagram presentation format of the charity ideal too on the CryptoSloth channel. We'll try to put that in the description as well. But really cool idea. I know you've been thinking about it a lot. I mean, that's what we need more in this space, are thinkers and people who, can take an ideal and break it down and really understand the different parts from the first principles, and then apply that in different areas. Like that's,
I appreciate that.
That's, hey, thanks for the compliment on the shave too. Yeah, I did shave.
Yeah, that was kind of my that was my actually more my intention of sharing that idea with everybody. Was less about the actual mechanics of the idea, but more to get people thinking, change people's mindsets a little bit, not just of how can we get rich, but how can we really utilize these protocols that are being created in front of us? Because while they are avenues and they are vectors to generate wealth, I believe their mechanics have the potential to go much further than just wealth generation.
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about it there, you talked about just the ability for, I mean, I suggested, and Dipcatcher too, we're talking about the different ways to generally apply it, such as a corporation for funding different, charities, philanthropic events, and then the different intricate ways you could change the details for,
Yep.
maybe a certain amount goes to the holders and a certain amount goes to, whatever it is, like kind of like stock for a corporation or funds in a charity. There's so many different knobs to play with on it. It's really, really cool. So I hope something comes from that. Either someone who's wanting to start a new token takes it on, or maybe yourself. Maybe you put together a team and do something with it. Feel free to announce it if you have any plans on the channel.
I'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah. So so we were going to discuss Matic a little bit, and so switching it to PulseChain just for a minute. Why PulseChain? Yeah, I wanted to ask, people familiar with some of the technical side and people who have done some of the just reasoning around it and did more than sacrifice. They actually think about how this stuff works. And I'm just wondering, when you ask somebody, okay, I can build on BNB, I can build on Solana, I can build on Matic, I can build on all these different systems besides the pump metals, which we know are fantastic. Like what's the difference between, PulseChain and Matic, for example?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I'm not a technical person at all. I have very little coding experience. I mean, I know what an if-then statement is, and that goes about as far as my technical coding knowledge. But in terms of like the things that make PulseChain unique, I mean, I'm sure we've all heard it before: high throughput, low fees, system state copy. Yes, sir. Oh wait, hold on. I have a lamp. I have a little glow up lamp. If you see it.
Oh, it's getting.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Nice.
Bought that a while
Where'd you
ago.
get it from?
I was a community member. I was just in like the Telegram groups. I'd have to go back through my Telegram stuff and find those chats again. But maybe I'll throw it and see if he's still making stuff. But
Yeah.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah, why PulseChain? High throughput, low fees, system state copy. I mean, those three things in of themselves. Well, the first two are less unique. A lot of other L1s have those things, but it's really the system state copy that's kind of the X factor for PulseChain. In addition to it being Richard Heart, and as well it being backed by the HEX community. Like those three things are what really differentiate PulseChain from everything else, in my opinion. The difference between like PulseChain and Matic. So Matic is a layer 2 solution to Ethereum scaling, where it's like a separate blockchain. But what happens is that you could think of it like snapshots every once in a while, and it'll record that on the Ethereum blockchain. That may not be exactly what happens, but like conceptually, that's pretty much what happens. So even though you're not your normal transactions, your swaps, whatever you're doing, isn't directly being recorded on the Ethereum network, you're still getting the benefit of being secured by Ethereum's proof of stake system. And so that's kind of what Matic is from a large scale view, while PulseChain is a whole new L1 altogether, where where at no point are your transactions being recorded on Ethereum anymore. The Ethereum ledger gets completely copy pasted over on PulseChain at time 0, and then at time 0.1 it's all different, and you're backed by the proof of stake delegators on the PulseChain network and not the proof of work miners on the Ethereum network. And if you want to learn more about the specifics, David Feeder, he has great educational videos on the intricacies of being a validator, as well as the technical aspects of PulseChain that I personally couldn't speak to in an intelligent manner.
Hey, David said he's going to come on the show, so we're going to try to get him on in a couple weeks.
Hell yeah.
So
he's great. He's one of the first people I've ever been on stream with on Hex Revision.
Yeah, he's super. He's always been impressive. I mean, it's nice to see people who, I mean, nothing against, there's tons of Hexicans out there who aren't technical. Nothing against those folks at all. They have utility. They serve a purpose. They promote stuff that us nerds and technical people can't even wrap our heads around. So fantastic. We need more people in general in the space, no matter what angle they're pursuing. But it's really refreshing to see technical people come out, people who have done projects, people who have you know, built software and did things, and then they know how to speak. They want to talk. They want to, you know, because I'm sure Richard's got all the devs like hiding in the closet somewhere. And, you know, I always love to see, what's his name? Kyle, Dev Kyle.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
I tried to, like, you know, search in YouTube for all of his content, and he had some really good stuff. He had some like one-on-ones with that one guy who said the guy who said that HEX is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Forget it. Eric Wall.
Eric Wall. Yeah, Eric Wall. That guy's funny.
Yeah, there's a great interview with him. It's like 3 hours long. If you just like listening, you know, in the background and kind of going through it. I love that stuff. I know most people don't, but if you YouTube for that and just listen to it, it's like basically Dev Kyle and Eric Wall just trading back and forth on the technicals and just talking about walking through HEX and walking through all these things about Richard too, and it's super fascinating. So I'll try to
look at that and see that. Yeah, link that. Yeah, I want to watch that.
Yeah, it's super interesting. So I love hearing that stuff. I love hearing the different perspectives, because a lot of times you hear perspective of people in the community, and like I said, it's just good to hear the technical side of it too, and have someone argue from that angle, and be able to bring some of those little details that may get, you know, overlooked or may not be what most people want to hear, so they just never talk about it, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. So Pulse versus PulseX, which one has more gains in 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, 2 years? Like, what do you think about
that? The $1 million question, you know, literally. But dude, I don't know. They both.
If you had to pick one, if I had to pick one, you got to put all your coins into one bag. Which one?
PulseX. It'd be PulseX, because the yield's going to be better as far as I can tell, based on my experience in other DeFi ecosystems with the single-sided staking. Delegating is going to be whatever, pretty marginal. It'd be a good place to put your moon bag, your never sell bag, that you just don't ever want to touch. Like, you'll get a small yield on that, which is awesome. Like, it's good that you're going to be able to get that. But if I understand the single-sided staking of PLSX, you know, don't quote me on this when it comes out, but I'm anticipating maybe around like a 20% APR would seem reasonable in my head, as well as any additional APRs that you get from third parties incentivizing you to stake your X PLSX. So just that yield that comes from single-sided staking PLSX is going to be my baseline by which I compare other yields from in respect to both the returns that it gives as well as its safety. So it's like, what other yield is out there? How much more or less yield do I get versus PLSX staking, as well as what kind of risk am I taking on relative to PLSX single-sided staking? So it's going to be my baseline level of yield on the PulseX DEX.
Okay, so that's what you're optimizing towards. That's what you think is going to be the most bang for buck.
That's what I'm going to start.
And what time horizon is that? Is that it's like, do you feel like 6 months? Do you feel like a year? Like, when are you going to start seeing the most gains within, you know, a couple year time period?
I wouldn't be surprised if Pulse outperformed PLSX in the beginning, just because it's easier for people to wrap their head around. And in regards to obstacles to exposure, PLS has less obstacles, because you have to interact with it if you want to interact with PulseChain. If you want to do anything on PulseChain, you need Pulse. Everybody understands L1s. Easy place to just throw your money in at first. And then as the time goes on and you learn more, because PulseX is going to be the most liquid DEX on the network, naturally people are going to go there next. But it might take a little bit more time to understand the fundamentals behind PLSX to a newcomer, just because you have to do a little bit more research into it. And it takes a little bit of time to digest like what a native buy and burn means for the price, and how the relative, how the PulseX token then becomes a derivative product of the performance and volume of the exchange itself. And that takes a little bit of time to understand and appreciate, versus just, Pulse is like Ethereum, done. Binance Smart Chain, BNB did incredible. Or the Binance Smart Chain coin did incredible. Pulse is going to do incredible. Let me buy that. So it's like the time it takes to wrap your head around the two are different. But I think the fundamentals of PLSX are better. And that's going to be the coin that if Pulse does start outperforming PLSX at the beginning, I will probably flip a little bit of my Pulse into PulseX and then use the yield from that to try to rebuild my bag of Pulse afterwards.
Okay. So you are thinking about participating in the bridge that's coming up, right before mainnet starts?
So the bridge before mainnet starts?
Yeah, before mainnet, Richard said there's going to be a bridge for the ratio trading of tokens, and you'll be able, before everything has a price, which great tax strategy. Not a tax advisor, but it seems like in a lot of jurisdictions, when things start at zero, you don't have to pay gains on them in a lot of places. So the bridge before it starts, there's going to be like just basically ratio trading. You'll be trading PLS for PLSX, PHEX for, everyone's like, because everyone's going to copy a PHEX or going to have HEX. PHEX if they have HEX. So then they're going to want to get more Pulse that way and things like that. So yeah, do you think you'll be participating in that kind of bridge?
Yeah. So, well, my understanding of the timeline, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, is that mainnet's going to launch, and then there's going to be a time period of however long, couple hours to maybe 3 days, where there is no bridge, where you can't take your assets from other chains and bring them in, which is like the pre-bridge phase, and then a bridge will launch. And then that's when the other, okay.
Yeah, so, sorry, I say bridge, but I mean pre-bridge, like
pre-bridge. Gotcha.
The place where tokens are going to be traded with no value. So I just kind of, I've been saying bridge, but yes, good correction.
I have given thought to my strategies. I have a stream talking about ratio trading on PulseX. But ultimately, it's going to come down to observing the market during those hours or days where there is no bridge, looking at the ratios, seeing what the market is giving me, looking at my position relative to the market, and seeing if I'm positioned to make a move with no more than 10% of any of my coins. If the opportunity isn't completely obvious and I have to give it a decent amount of thought, I'm going to err towards do nothing. Just because it's such a volatile and unpredictable time. It just makes more sense to me to do nothing unless the move is painfully obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about this too. I got a blog on ratio trading and some of the thoughts, but I think, so the 3 strategies I think would be good would be, so if you already have a lot of HEX, you have, and you hold it for the copy for PHEX, the natural strategy, everyone wants to get into PLS and PLSX through that. But that sounds kind of expensive because everyone wants to do it, right?
Yep.
So if you were able to get into Pulse, you're able to get into PulseX, then you have some to perhaps get some really cheap PHEX, because if everyone wants something and everyone is going to have a lot of something else, that's naturally going to make that something else price go way down. So the opportunity there is to get some more PHEX if you have Pulse and PulseX, and you feel like it's a good trade. Obviously shouldn't be trading. The whole system was invented. The whole staking system, the Richard Heart ecosystem of staking was invented, so you don't need to, spend consciousness and brain power on all these decisions. But this could be an opportunistic time to get more of Pulse, PulseX, or PHEX, especially the PHEX part if you got in the sacrifice early. And if you have no Pulse or you have no PulseX, more than likely you don't have Pulse, because a lot of people knew about PulseX after Pulse. Like, maybe it's a sack phase. Then that's, swapping them for each other. I'm going to be interested to see what the ratios are for that. And then PHEX's price is probably going to be way down, just by logic. And it's going to be interesting to see, on the ratio trading, are you going to get a really big price for Pulse? If you got Pulse coming, if you sacked for Pulse, you may get pretty good deal on it, even before it has a price. So it's gonna be interesting to see.
If I had to put on money on which one is gonna people are gonna FOMO into first, it'll be Pulse, PLS. That'll be the one. I imagine.
Yeah. So if you got a big bag of Pulse and maybe you want to, like Sloth said, maybe you got 10% and you're like, you know what, maybe I'll get a lot of PHEX from it. There's probably an opportunity coming up for that. So it's going to be fascinating. I know we're all kind of in this, not blue balls, I guess, but how would you say, we're like, we're waiting. we're waiting. We know it's coming. We know it's coming, but we just don't know when. Yeah,
it's been a real tease these last couple months because we know it's almost there, but it's not there yet, and it's like you can't count on it. It is nice to look at my. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say Richard said mid-May probably, so you can add at least 2 weeks to that, at least.
Yeah.
And now, we're supposed to get 10-day notice before the fork date. We're supposed to get the testnet v3 really quickly. I think all those things are still going to happen. So if they are, that's pushing us. It looks like early June at the soonest. If I were to guess.
I'm happy with that. That sounds great.
Hey, it seems disappointing because we've been waiting for 8 or 9, 10 months now. But I don't know. It's hard to be disappointed with such a crazy opportunity to get in at the ground floor of something that is designed to make you money. So
yeah,
it's like being disappointed that you got 2 scoops instead of 3 scoops. It's like you still got ice cream. It's still going to be tasty ice cream. You just got to wait for it a little bit longer.
Yeah, and we're gonna look back on these moments, and we're gonna reminisce about them, and be like, oh man, you remember when we were, I was on RHMax's stream, we were just chucking it up before PulseChain launches, and like, look at all the crap has happened since then. You're like, I mean, you've even lived through this, man. It took 1.5 years for HEX to launch. It was 4 more weeks for freaking 18 months, right?
That's true.
And then
that's
look, it's almost 3 years later, and look at all that's happened since then. And I bet you look at those times as being pretty special because it was before something pretty huge happened. And I think that this is going to be the same thing.
Well, I think now, so back then, again, following Richard since 2017, day 0 HEX, I was staked for a year when I claimed the BTC deal, all that stuff. If you stake, anyone who claimed the BTC was automatically staked for a year, all that stuff, just using myself as an example. But back then it was you weren't really waiting. You were just kind of like, I'm trying to remember. It was just more of, this may be something, this may not be. Nobody really knew what HEX was going to be. Nobody knew how serious Richard was. Nobody, it's not that we thought it was a scam or anything. We just thought, hey, he's never did this before. Yeah, it's like, it's kind of an experiment, and we just didn't know what to expect. So it was kind of like, okay, I was excited. I remember being excited. I remember thinking, wow, this is going to be cool. I'm going to get a lot. I'm going to see how it goes, or I'm going to get, as much as I can at the time. And I remember it was just traded on these really, on the centralized side, it was just on these really bad exchanges. And I think it's still on a couple, and it's just like, wow, you don't know if you're going to get your coins off. It was just very unstable, uncertain times. And you really didn't know what was going to happen. So it wasn't as if you got hundreds of YouTubers who are all killing it with Pulse right now, and PulseX. And there's, maybe they're into HEX, maybe they're not. It's not like this building of pressure. Back then, it was just sort of, hey, this is a new, exciting project. And a lot of people were in other projects then. They didn't know the power that Richard was going to wield in crypto as much as he's, elevated himself with all this new stuff. So
I give a lot of respect to the OG Hexicans being able to weather through the storm of all the FUD and HEX is a scam, HEX is a Ponzi. I came in at the very tail end of that.
Where's the Ponzi?
Was it
doing pretty well? Where's the Ponzi? Any day now. Everyone says that. I'm like, when's it gonna happen? When's it going?
It's all a Ponzi. It's all great till it's not. You just wait, and then we're still on the merry-go-round. We'll see if it ever stops. No, but
no data.
I came in at the tail end of all of that, around 2 to 3 cents, and like there was still a decent amount. Like most of the searches about HEX were still like FUD, and that kind of it freaked me out a little bit at first. I was like, oh, what was going on? I dig into it more. It's like, okay, I understand what's going on, but at least there were resources to go to learn from, where at the beginning it was just, ragtag group of random people on the internet trying to figure out what's going on. And then the greater crypto community just be like, no, this is all trash. This is all a scam. You're going to lose your money. So to get to this point now, coming from that, I give a lot of props and respect to people like you who have gotten this far from it. And, some props to the staking feature, which helped you get this far too.
For sure. I mean, I give props to staking. I think everyone goes through this phase where, you stake, especially if you're staked for years and you're like, I I kind of wish I could get a little bit of that right now, and which is funny enough, Maxi, hey, was full circle on that. It provides that type of thing, although just one-time deal. That would be interesting if it was multi-times, and I think that's been covered too. But hey, I just want to say hi to the chat real quick. Valley Brand, David James is here. Going to have David on.
Up,
we got to
guys?
settle on a time, but we're going to have him on stream as well.
Hell yeah.
Gay, I don't want to say this wrong. Gaymon has a question. Gaymon has a question. I'll say it like that just in case. Hey, Gold, he's talking to Gold Key, but we can speak to this question as well. What do you reckon the price of T shares will be on PHEX? That's so I imagine if the price, so if it's correlated with the price, right? So if the price of PHEX is way down, then the T share rate, you should be able to get more T shares, right?
Yeah.
So
I am really interested to see what the ratio of HEX on Pulse and HEX on Ethereum is going to be, because I could see it. I wouldn't be surprised if PHEX is higher. I wouldn't be surprised if EHEX is higher. Like neither one would shock me, but I'm really interested to see what actually happens. Because since it is the same code and the same value proposition, it isn't technically arbitrage, but like arbitrage adjacent opportunities where it's like, well, if I can get more T shares on the Pulse chain, I'm just going to throw my money that way because that's more passive income. And then obviously you throw on the X factor of lower fees, which just makes it easier to interact with. That's a point in the PHEX side. But EHEX will always be, from a mimetic standpoint, the OG, the real HEX. Just at least while until the community grows and people are more PulseChain natives versus ex Ethereum natives that have migrated to PulseChain.
Well, there's still tons and tons of stakes. It's not 10, 15 year stakes. So it's not like the EHEX is going to be abandoned. I don't think it doesn't make any sense. You're just going to emergency and stake all your EHEX for what? So the people who are there, there's like what 200 stakes created every day or something like that. I think I was looking at HEX stats. Some big number. Like, wow, that's crazy. That many stakes happening. If that's true. So I don't know who is. It's not like EHEX is going away. Why would it? And even Richard said you don't want to see GPEX on either chain. So
yeah, exactly. They have the same value proposition. So if you can get more on one side than the other, like money flows where it's treated best, and if you can get a better deal on one chain, that's where it's going to go because it does the same thing.
Exactly. So switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about maybe security. Have you ever had any like near misses or anything that in crypto where you're like either hacked or you thought you got hacked or you were like I can't believe I did this, and where it made you kind of nervous?
I haven't had too many close calls or any close calls with security outside of maybe feeling like I misplaced my seed phrase. But I've taken security pretty seriously from day one because I kind of understood the importance of it. There is no help desk or call center to go to if something happens. Like you're fully responsible for your funds when you invest in crypto, if you invest in crypto correctly. But it's been an iterative process for me. So like at the beginning, I had some bad practices where, I had my MetaMask on my personal computer, on my phone, and then on my computer at home. So like I would be traveling to school and there's like crypto on my computer. And that was okay when I had a couple $100 in and I was like, whatever, like it's not a big deal. Like I remember buying some HEX, like just while I was waiting for my next class. And then as I got more serious about it, and as time went on, I was like, okay, I got to clean this up. So, I wiped it all from all my personal stuff, made brand new wallets, transferred funds over, set different wallets for different things, have a dedicated crypto computer, et cetera, et cetera. And there are still more things I would like to do to improve my security. But it comes in waves for me where it's like I learn a bunch about security. I fix up my security hygiene, and then some time will go on, and there's like, okay, time to do the next thing because it's a lot of work. Getting your security in order and doing it correctly takes time, attention, and effort. And you don't have to do it all at once, and I don't choose to do it all at once. It's whatever my situation's at. I choose the practices that best fit my life as it is now. And then as time goes on and I want to upgrade things or I have a little extra time to, hammer out words on like metal, once I have the time for that, then I'll upgrade it even more, and it'll just continue to iterate. And so hopefully by the time the generational wealth comes and I have my coins, I already have my coins sequestered, safe. I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I think the best things you can do for your just personal security on your computer are really boring. There's
VPN,
just stuff
right?
like
that's all you need, right?
Oh, you mentioned VPN. Oh, you're okay. Well, since you mentioned it,
got them started, guys.
I'll skip the boring advice and come back to it. But yeah, VPNs can help you with privacy. They do not help you with security. I will debate anyone, any day, any place on that. As a security expert with years and years in the industry, I was kind of surprised to see so many people, get on the VPN bandwagon. If you ask people in the industry who do security professionally, they're just like, VPN, like that's something you used, maybe if you're at an airport or coffee shop, never you would use it at home. Like, what would do you think is there someone malicious on your own network trying to attack you? Like, probably not. Like it doesn't help you not get hacked from an out-of-date browser or an email or phishing or running code. VPN doesn't do anything for that. So use a VPN if you want to, for example, work from home. You want to dial into a corporate network, and as if you're physically there, it will create a secure tunnel and get you on that network and let you access corporate resources and servers and stuff there. But using one at home, I can't think of a reason why you want to do that, unless you want to change your IP address, which in case you can just use a proxy service. I mean, you're kind of doing overkill with a VPN there. And that's privacy. That's not security. Security is like keeping your computer yours and not letting other people access it through, exploiting some kind of browser bug or whatever, or Wi-Fi bug and stuff that they have had in Apple phones before and Android too. Privacy is like, concealing your identity. You don't want someone to know you went on a website. You don't want to know it's you. You want to make it look like you come from somewhere else. But VPNs are extremely useful. I want to say that. I'm not hating on VPNs. I'm just saying it's like this big misnomer these days of use a VPN for security. No, you don't. You probably don't, at least. You're probably using it at home. And if you use it at home, what are you protecting against? Unless there's like someone on a Wi-Fi outside your house who's already got access to your network, who are you hiding from? Like, what are you protecting against? Unless you're hiding your IP address, that's fine. But if you're at an airport, at a coffee shop, at traveling, do you want to bypass censorship or something like that? Or if you work from home and you want to access corporate resources, a lot of times you have to use a VPN. So it's a good tool. It's been around for 30, 40 years. Old technology, it works well, but people just, they sign up, they pay monthly for a VPN subscription, and you just got to ask the question, why are you doing it? You want to hide your IP? First of all, if someone has your IP address, that's not how you get hacked anymore. You don't. No one's going to look up your IP address, and you have a built-in firewall on your computer and your router. Look up NAT. It has a lot of automatic protections in for that kind of stuff. Like maybe 20, 30 years ago, people were hacking others via IP address when a lot of other stuff was different. But these days, you get hacked by your browser out of date. There's a new bug in Chrome or Firefox or whatever you use, or Safari. You click on a link. Your browser's out of date, so it's not patched against the bug. And now you get the malware, you get the virus, you get exploited in some way, if you're targeted at all. Mm-hmm. So none of that has anything to do with VPN. So use VPN for what it's meant to be used for. Just had this hopium of, okay, VPN, security, that solves it. No, that's not the way it works, unfortunately. There is no panacea. Nothing you can buy that's going to make you super secure. What you can do, however, you can do things that, like I said, I was going to go into the boring advice. So you can keep your browser up to date, like I said. That's going to stop most of the bugs, most of the hacks that you're going to run into as a common, daily user on the internet. You can don't click on crazy email links. Look at the sender, open it up in the details, and look at the fine print to see who it's coming from. You can, if you download something, you can go to virustotal.com, and you can upload that file. Don't upload any private stuff, because it's kind of like this crowdsourced malware intelligence service. So anyone else can download whatever you upload. So don't upload any personal stuff. Only upload, something you downloaded from the internet that you just want to know if it's safe to run. It'll use a whole bunch of different antiviruses.
What's that site called? I've never heard of it.
VirusTotal, virustotal.com. Those 2 words. Virus. I'll put the link in the description as well. Yeah, it's great. You just upload whatever file you want that you want to know if it has malware. It'll check. It's basically a cloud antivirus. It'll check like 60 or 70 different antiviruses engines to see if anyone's reported this being malicious. I think you can give it URLs as well. So even if you don't want to download it, you can just give it a URL and see if anyone's reported that URL is malicious. It's great. Nobody knows about it. It's like this, only like these, security professional community really uses it a lot, but it's a great resource.
Super cool.
And the last boring advice I would give, there's a few other things, but I'll just say this. Don't use Windows if you don't have to. I know everyone loves Windows. Everyone runs Windows. I get it. But there's a reason almost all malware runs on Windows, because everyone uses it. Like, if you want to infect the most computers, you're going to write it for what's running most in the world, which is Windows. Use Mac. Get you a MacBook, and you can use virtual machine software, VM software. There's tons of different vendors that you can purchase it from, or maybe do some free stuff too. And you can run Windows inside of your Mac. So you can still access all your favorite programs, but you're much more secure from a security standpoint. So just don't run Windows if you don't have to. And MacBooks they're elegant, beautiful. There's a learning curve, but I've grown to love them too. So that's your boring security advice, but that was
great. I learned something.
Better than it's no exciting. It's not like, hey, security. It's not this like huge matrix terminal and I'm fighting the hackers. It's not like that. It's just keep your browser up to date for the most part.
I'll make sure I click that little red update button next time. I'll think of you, Max. Like, Max told me to do this.
It's annoying, but it keeps you much safer. I get it. Nobody wants to restart their browser. Nobody wants to restart their computer, but that's what updates do. They put a lot of times security patches in place so you don't get hacked.
Good to know.
Wow. Hey, somebody runs Linux. Nice. I didn't even want to say Linux because I know most people won't even pay attention to it or get into it. But yeah, Linux is another thing. It's even targeted less than less than Mac. And it has a lot of other, modern Linux these days. You can run a lot of good programs on it. Again, you can run a virtual machine to run Windows, whatever you want. If you miss your programs, and hey, it's a lot. Almost no one's going to target hacking a Linux computer these days. So it's just not, the market share is just not there. It's just not worth the ROI for attackers. So yeah, run Linux if you can, if you want to. It's an adventure, but hey, it's pretty popular. Not nearly as popular as Windows or Mac, but it's another option for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say hi to the chat real quick. I wish, Guillermo, would you tell me how to pronounce your name so I can stop messing that up? Appreciate the comments though. Bally Brand still hitting it up. Ooh, somebody knows some technical stuff. He's saying Hyper-V. Yeah, so mistyped it, but Wiper-V, but it's Hyper-V. You can run virtual machines on Windows. That is absolutely correct. David James, keep it up, man. Appreciate it. Gold Key is probably still around here somewhere. And yeah, thanks for all the good comments and all the chat. So let's move into 2 good books. So this is a segment that basically I'm into books. I love reading. I know we're going to lose some people on the stream. That's okay. These are things that I've been going through and reading, and I've been sharing on my Twitter account, and just able to get a lot of knowledge from, consume, wealth, wisdom, happiness, all that good stuff. So if you're looking for books that can help you in that category, I've got a couple. I'll just name them off the top of my head because I forgot to put them in front of me so I can grab them. Let's see, the ones I went through today, there's a book called Drive, and I'll put these links in the description as well, which is about persuasion and really the art of that kind of stuff. So that's been a really interesting one that I've been reading, listening to the summaries. You don't have to read a full book these days. You can listen to it with audiobook. You can Google or get on YouTube for summaries where some people just break it down. There's some really good summary channels. Highly recommend doing that. So you get a lot of the key ideas in just a few minutes. But if you like long form, of course, there's print, there's Audible. I use Audible all the time for audiobooks. And then, so Drive is one great book on persuasion. And then the classic on persuasion too. That's the theme I'm going with. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Classic.
Yeah, great book. Cannot recommend it enough, especially if you listen to it. It's got a great narration on the audiobook as well. It'll just teach you these skills to understand people, understand what people want, expect, respond better when you speak to them. And it's not about manipulation, persuasion, influence. The dark side, I mean, everything I think is neutral for the most part. All these, different attributes and words and actions. It's how you use it. So you can use persuasion and to manipulate people, or you can use it to help you tell the story that they connect with and understand. So I know that sounds like a quote from a salesman or something, but that's really how it works. Like, you want to persuade people, you persuade people all the time. You persuade, your wife or girlfriend to, go to a certain restaurant or watch a certain movie with you. You persuade your boss to give you a job. I mean, you use this all the time. It's nothing wrong with doing it, and you can do it in an ethical and classy way. So Drive and How to Win Friends and Influence People. 2 great books. I'll put them in the description so y'all can click on them later if you like. Those are my 2. Yeah. How about you, Sloth?
Yeah, I definitely have to give my first one is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Falls into the kind of self-help motivation genre. And it's just basically David Goggins recounting his life story on how he kind of went from a nobody loser to this, Navy SEAL, essentially just badass guy. And then delineating that whole entire process as well as his personal struggles. I highly recommend the audiobook, because the audiobook is unique in that it is a dual podcast and audiobook. So they're
so good.
Yeah, it's really good. So he has his ghostwriter read the book, and then after every chapter, or after like maybe an impactful scene, they'll discuss it. So it's a really, really cool way to kind of even get a deeper look into the mind of David Goggins. And I also just go check out his YouTube channel. Really great stuff if you're into the motivation kind of genre. And then also The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. He has some really good books, really good topics. This one is about why good people are divided by politics and religion. So he's a psychologist, and he basically breaks down the 2 political parties in the United States, or really not in the United States, but like, conservative versus liberal politics more generally, distills them down into a specific like psychological model, and then shows how the different ones have different how they value different things relative to each other, and how that has led to some of the dichotomy in the current political system.
I've read his happiness hypothesis, but I haven't read this one.
Yeah, I gotta read that one too. I like Jonathan Haidt a lot. He explains things very well, concisely, and it is I appreciate his data-driven approach too. He always backs things up with research, which I appreciate.
For sure. Yeah, it's a great author. I'm glad to learn of another book he just got. I hadn't even I read Happiness Hypothesis a few years ago, and that really got me started on my wealth, wisdom, happiness journey. And so that's a great one, and definitely it didn't even occur to me to go look for his other work. So glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah. So let's switch back to crypto. A little bit here. Are you investing in crypto with any like traditional instruments like retirement accounts, IRA, 401k, like stuff like that yet?
I used to have stocks. I sold them all for crypto. And then I have a Roth IRA, and I just pulled out the money that I put into it. I left the gains, the price appreciation just in it. And I did that mostly for psychological reasons. Just, if shit hits the fan and I get hacked or I lose everything, I have this pool of cash where I can start from all over again. And if things go really well, then I still have money in the tax advantage account. But yeah, no, I'm 100% crypto, just where I am in life, my age, as well as where I'm at career wise. It just makes sense to go full send on crypto. There's no reason to hedge. I have the time. I can weather any bear market right now.
So you're not trying to retire at 65?
No, I'm not trying to retire at 65. I'm trying to get as much money as possible, as soon as possible, so I can do the things that I actually want to do, rather than have to spend my time accruing money to live off of, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's been the biggest thing I've seen lately. It's just I think that's what attracts people to crypto is the ability to, hey, I'm no longer envious, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a 40-year career, retiring, in your old age. I guess say old, but hopefully longevity will make 85 the new 65, stuff like that. But calling it quits, doing what you want, and having a fulfilling career. Absolutely wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, if you these days, I just don't think. I think if the previous generation, the previous generation would have had crypto, they would have had these different opportunities. They had stocks, they had .com bubble, they had the huge after World War II, the huge boom in industry and all these like Coca-Cola and all these different huge fundamental companies came out that you can invest in. I think every generation has their asset that if they get into it and they're diligent enough and they believe in it and they have, strong hands, all this stuff, they can become very wealthy by investing in those top assets. Every generation has this in the modern era. So our generation is just crypto. It's you see a lot of older people getting into crypto. You see a lot of people 40, 50, 60, 70 who are just like, hey, so some of them understand it. I guess they're kind of outliers because there's so many more people who don't that you never talk to them, but you talk to the ones who do.
You do,
but it's always refreshing when I see someone who's 60, 70 years old, doing a Q&A with Richard or something like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
You get it, you buy into it. And especially if you're doing stuff like, I'm a fan of Rocket Dollar. And I think what they are doing with being able for letting you put your your IRA, your retirement account into crypto, especially HEX and Pulse and stuff. Fantastic. Yep. I've had a really good experience with them. You can convert your 401k, you can convert your other IRAs, your other instruments, your other accounts, and you partner with one of their exchanges, for example, RSX, and you create a Colorado company and manage it on the custodian side, and you basically buy ETH, set up your MetaMask account for retirement, only use it for that. You got to be very strict with it, and literally you can use a Uniswap to trade your funds. Again, not a tax advisor. Check your local jurisdiction. It may be trading it, with no capital gains because it's in your retirement account. You're just using the money. And if you have a Roth IRA, for example, you can trade as much as you want. You can get into HEX. You could have sacked for Pulse and PulseX. You can get PX and trade it for on the pre-bridge and all that stuff. So I think Rocket Dollar doesn't get enough credit. I don't know why people aren't going crazy about this. I guess everyone's like, oh, because you can't touch it till 59.5, all this stuff. I'm thinking, hey, my future self, I hope to be very wealthy, and especially at that point in time. And I'm thinking, hey, future self, I'm going to be very thankful to previous self for doing this, getting those, letting those things grow tax free. Emergency, you can still take it out, take the penalty, whatever you want. But hey, if you're able to get in the highest appreciating assets that's ever existed and let it grow tax free potentially, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you going? These people are like trying to help you get into that. It's amazing. I love what they're doing.
Yeah, I looked into Rocket Dollar a couple months ago, and I really liked what they were doing. At some point, I'll probably get that process started and going. Right now I can't really afford the service fees, but eventually once it makes sense to, I do plan to get like the self-directed IRA and start moving funds into that. I think that's going to be a bear market move for me. When it's really deep into a bear market, everything's quiet. That's when I start making those kind of moves. Yeah,
it's these type of companies that and just on Rocket Dollar too, there's a great Kinetics interview on Discord Syndicate, like 15 minutes. Oh, it's the best interview you can ever watch if you want to learn about crypto and retirement. Just watch that. You'll probably be hooked after that into it.
I remember when I was looking into Rocket Dollar, I got like a quick 5-10 minute consultation call just to ask, because I wanted is it possible to like custody your own coins, and I talked specifically about HEX. I was like, yeah, we've got a lot of people calling us about HEX. We're going to try to figure that out. Like,
Yes,
yeah, the
yes.
Hexicans are on it. They see it.
Exactly. Yeah. A consultation as well, and I said HEX, and they just, oh yeah, it's like I couldn't believe how normal it was, because so many Hexicans seem to be using Rocket Dollar. Yep. And have seen that light. So I think it's just genius. I think a lot of these products are coming out for Hexicans, for people who just want to put crypto into their traditional funds or convert them as such. That's super exciting. I mean, that's something that hopefully we'll all look back on, if you participated in those type of products 10, 20, 30 years, and just be like, wow, I'm glad I got in that early. I'm glad I did that. You know,
I did that right.
Yeah, you want to be thinking right, your future self. Yes, it's always good to be happy with your previous self making those decisions. Mm-hmm. So I just want to touch on a couple more things before we call it close. But so how do you make yourself better? Like, how do you, are you reading, writing, creating, coding? Like, what do you do to keep your mental, physical, your spiritual self up to date?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting question for me, because I've gone down the whole productivity, self-help, motivation rabbit hole. But I still personally really struggle keeping a schedule and being consistent over a long period of time, through implementing a lot of the principles that I've learned. But for right now, it's just, my life is just so crazy with school. And I have so much going on to try to develop this one skill, as well as the other couple things I'm juggling at the same time. It's just kind of a necessity for me to just keep moving forward. Like, I don't really have too much time to lay around or waste around. I have assignments, I got tests, I got deadlines in my lab. I got a lot of things, and unfortunately, due to the volume of things I have to do, some of the more fundamental habits, the atomic habits. Like, I know you've read the James Clear book. Some of those, like, very small things that keep your day together sometimes fall apart. So right now I'm really trying to work on building that foundation again, and seeing if I can work from a healthier place.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's is that what is it that motivates you to get out of bed in the morning? Like, what is it that makes you excited for the day, or is that something you're still trying to figure out or work through?
Yeah, for right now, what gets me up in the morning is just I have things to do.
Yeah.
I don't.
The consequences of not doing them.
Yeah, exactly. The consequences of not doing them. But but ultimately, what gets me through all of it is just, I have a vision for where I want my life to be. I have a desire to develop certain skills, and I have a layout of how to get there. And I just know that by doing the tasks I have to do each day, eventually I'll get to where I want to be. And I'm still iterating on my process a little bit, but yeah, it's about where I'm at.
I mean, I think there's not enough people in crypto, maybe not enough people in the world that want to take the time to study, and for a purpose, to make themselves better. I know, everyone has priorities, everyone has things they want to do, and make sure they have, their responsibilities. They have they sign up for all their own stuff. So they have all these, things going on. But the ability to make yourself better and to create value, and not just drone on, in your 9 to 5. And for a lot of people, that gives them meaning. Maybe they start off young, they get a job. I guess, for a lot of people, you're lucky enough to get a job, to doing something that pays well and all that. And I totally appreciate and understand that, being someone who's worked in the corporate world for a long time now. But if you're still working 9 to 5, I think you're either, even if I know there's some people, you see people who get into companies and make the companies do really well. They get huge bonuses and stock and all this stuff. And some people become millionaires once they go public, things like that. Yeah. A lot of them don't quit working. A lot of them keep working. They don't just, hey, I got $1 million, or hey, I got $10 million, I'm going to retire now. I think it's because they've given meaning to their lives through their work. Yep. And they really don't, maybe they haven't set themselves up with other opportunities. They haven't they don't have the motivation to kind of start their own business or start their own consulting or pursue things in life that aren't keeping them busy. I think so many people are like that. It just, for me, I don't know. I don't know if I got. I think I've always been very independent, very wanting to do my own. Very entrepreneurial. I've had a corporate job for over a decade now, and to me, especially when I found crypto and I was able to see that, hey, it is possible to retire very early if you make the right decisions and you're sensitive to opportunities. You make your own luck. But I think a lot of people, even if you gave them $10 million tomorrow, even if their company went public or their company's like, you know what, we're just going to give you $10 million, whatever. Here you go. Do whatever you want with it. They would just be lost. They would just feel like, I don't know, work was keeping me busy. It was passing the time. It gave me something to do. They're not self-disciplined. They're not living their lives deliberately. Like, to me, it's so natural. It's so, I'm always working towards something. I always have some goal. I always have a few things going on around me that are making me more productive, keeping me busy in a way that I'm able to stop, reflect, think, create. And then I get overwhelmed myself as well. But there's so many people that, they either can't find it, even if they were rich, they just wouldn't be able to turn it into something that gives their life that big meaning that they just can't quite see it. They can't quite find it. And I think that's tragic. I think that I wish it wasn't that way. I wish everyone was so, looking within themselves and reflecting about their lives and what they want to do. But I think it's a trap. 9 to 5 is a trap. It keeps food on the table. It keeps you wanting that promotion. It keeps you wanting to compete. What are you competing for, though? Like, if you have the option to go be wealthy and then go start your own foundation, go start your go start your own business, go work for yourself and take on that kind of accountability and take on that fulfillment from doing it. You're not working for someone else. You're working for yourself. You're building your own image and you're building your own thing. It's just not there for a lot of people. And that's so, but I think that's an opportunity. I think if you do feel that way and you do see that and you want it, you really want it, like, you will sacrifice just about everything else to get that. There's enough people who don't want it, but there's space. There's pie. There's pie for you to get that piece. And I think that's incredible. And that's what motivates me a lot of times.
No, I think that's great. And definitely the experience of meaning and having that be a fundamental driving force for action is a very beautiful place to be. Because it not only just gives color to life, but it also gives satisfaction as well. And I often operate from the same place, have operated from that same place, the desire to build, to improve, to help others. And I also see what you mean by, like, it does have, there is this appearance of other people who just don't seem to have that same spark, that same desire to improve. I try not to pass judgment on those people or necessarily, like, understand why they don't have that, because I think a lot of this is a highly individual thing, and I really can't be upset at somebody who doesn't have that desire, who is content with that 9 to 5, because, at least in my opinion, experience is an end of itself, and we all should have, I believe, the ability to choose what that end experience should be. And I think that could look different for other people, and be perfectly satisfying for them. But there's also probably a proportion of people who just haven't unlocked that desire yet, who would prefer, if they could pick one of the two lives, one of complacency versus one of risk, growth, and productivity, they would pick the latter and not the former. And so finding ways to help people find that vision, just get it, expose the ideas in a way in which they believe it's possible, so then they begin to seek it out themselves. That is a pretty noble mission for whoever is looking to do that and uplift people that way.
I can't think of anyone doing it more than Richard Hart right now. I mean, creating more millionaires all the time. And enforcing healthy habits, not trading, staking, not playing poker, how to get good apologies, all that stuff. He's written Scivive, Fix the World, the books. I think everyone has their own ceiling. Everyone has their own ambition or lack thereof. Not that there's anything wrong with living a simple life and just doing the 9 to 5 and things like that. I'm just so happy that if you don't want that and you want something more and you're really ambitious and you want to go, be great at something and you want to be wealthy and you want to have the time and have the ability and have the chance to breathe and not be pressured by work and commitments and all these things, as Naval, another person I follow a lot and read all this stuff, Naval Ravikant, you should get rich first and then figure out how to be happy. If you can figure it out beforehand, that's fine too. But hey, if you're rich, now you can buy your time. And having a lot of time to go figure stuff out is pretty key for figuring out what makes you happy and how to get there.
Yeah, so, some of those pictures you retweet, I like them a lot, like those black and white ones. But dude, sometimes I see those like, whoa, I did not expect to be like personally attacked like that today. Like you like these images just calling me out on like all like my mental fit models that are like, getting in my way. And it's like, I'll see the image. I'm like, oh my God, like why you attacking me like this? I didn't expect that to happen right now.
You're talking about the visualized value?
Those images.
Yeah. You feel, I like your perception. Like I felt attacked by those. When I see them, I'm like,
me out like that. I'm just trying to live my life right now.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times when I see them, I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I should think about it that way. But I like how it speaks to you and like, I need to wake up. I'm doing this. I could be doing this better.
Yeah. So I appreciate those.
Yeah. Man, it's been a great conversation.
Yeah, dude, I've had an awesome time. This has been a great Monday night. I've been looking forward to this all weekend. I'm glad we got a chance to do this.
I kind of lost track of the days. You said Monday. I'm like, it is Monday. Nice.
Yeah.
I've been so busy with things lately. I need to slow down myself. I've been putting time in the morning to read. I'm like, okay, I want to work on writing. I want to work on reading more than just tweeting. I can read on my phone, but I have like physical books. I have like, I want to study certain things that they just keep sitting on the table. I keep passing by. I'm like, no, I need to go do that. So I need more discipline in that way myself. But I think it's just setting up your routine where it becomes easy to do that. And that's what I'm working on, that exercise, reading, writing, and streaming now. I think this is this has been an experience that I think we're creating value. And I think
so too. Especially
the people watching. Hopefully they're getting something out of it and their Monday night's a little bit better.
Yeah, we've had a pretty cool audience tonight. I've appreciated them. It's been great.
Yeah. So with that, I think every day should be a little more like Thanksgiving. Eat good, great conversation, say what you're thankful for. Is there something you want to express gratitude to? Somebody did something for you that was really special? A company you're thankful for that has this product that you just can't live without? Like something that helped you do something great? Something you want to shout out?
Yeah. I'll express a deep sense of gratitude to my girlfriend. I've had a pretty tough time these last couple months. Dental school has been pretty rough on me, and she's been an awesome pillar of support for me. And she's right now been studying for her finals. And I just want to express all the gratitude to her because she's just been an awesome partner throughout through the thick and thin of things these past couple years. Both of us getting into me getting into dental school, her getting into med school. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it's especially when you have a good relationship with someone who they're complimentary to you. They help you become more in a lot of ways. Like there's things you cannot do without having a partner sometimes, and it's great to know you have a good relationship. And she's been supportive, and it helps you be a better you. Like I truly believe that with my wife as well. So gratitude to mine. Yesterday was Mother's Day. We got to celebrate that, and I cannot give enough thanks to. I would not be who I am today, or where I'm at, or have the opportunities that I have. I don't know where I'd be without my significant other as well.
Yeah. Special shout out to Kay Gonda in the chat. She's a good friend of mine, so it's cool to see her in here. What's up, Kay?
Shout out to Kay. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you missed the first part, look out for the replay. We'll have clips coming up soon. I've got T-Rob from HEX Community Jobs. He's going to be helping us out with some of the media, thumbnails, and clips. I've been spending hours on it myself, and I would like a little bit of help. So thankfully, he's in the business of doing that, and we can make getting this content out a little bit easier, and let me focus more on the content for interviews. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Hell yeah, man.
So, been a pleasure, CryptoSloth.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much for having me on, man. We got to do this again sometime. Maybe on my channel, I'll interview you.
Perfect. That sounds great, man. Everyone have a good night, and we'll go to the outro. Take it easy.
See you, everybody.